Hello, everyone, and welcome to Uncle Mark's Attic. Everyone is cordially invited to join co-host Zach and me, Uncle Mark, as we explore a variety of interesting topics from the fields of paranormal activities, conspiracy theories, unsolved mysteries and disappearances, and lots more.
You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and TikTok if you're interested, at Uncle Mark's Attic. Feel free to reach out and contact us with your questions and suggested topics. We would love to hear from you.
So come on into the attic with us now as we go exploring and find out what mysteries we'll discover today.
So today's episode is not really going to be a mystery. It's kind of just going to be an introductory video. It's not going to be anything too long. We're just going to touch on some of the topics that we would like to go over in our podcast for episodes, and we're kind of going to go over how we got the name Uncle Mark's Attic and what that means for us, as well as what we want it to mean for you guys as well.
That was well said, Zach. Thank you. Zach came up with the name Uncle Mark's Attic. He had the idea that an attic is a place, of sometimes of mystery and surprises, because what's an attic? If you've ever been in an old house with an attic, you go up there and there's all kinds of stuff usually stored in the attic. There's all kinds of trunks and boxes, suitcases, whatever, old bags. And you really don't know what's inside any of these things until you start poking around and looking into them. So that was a great idea, I thought, for calling it Uncle Mark's Attic. I've known Zach since he was born, and ever since he was a young boy, whenever I'm at the house visiting, sometimes for long weekends, sometimes for weeks at a time, I always have a large supply of books that I bring with me of all kinds of topics because I'm interested in so many things and always have been all of my life. So I would begin to show Zach some of these books, and we would talk about the stuff that I'm reading, and we just got into that habit of discussing these things, the different topics, like we mentioned to you, unsolved mysteries or disappearances or whatever, and paranormal things. We have an interest in a wide variety of subjects. So we thought what we would do, just in attempting to introduce our podcast and ourselves to you, was to just go over some of the topics we've already talked about doing individual podcasts on once we get ourselves started here now. So Zach, if you wanted to talk about the first ones.
Yeah. Another thing, or another reason I picked the name Uncle Mark's Attic is because ever since I was a little kid, like Mark was saying, he would always, share these stories, and he would always go into like, oh, this is the Bigfoot story, and and it would be very intriguing, especially as a young kid. That's the kind of stuff that interests you. Like, I don't want to call them fairy tale. But essentially,
Right.
kids love fairy tale, like Cinderella, et cetera, but I do believe in these things. So it was always interesting to me growing up. And like I said, another reason I picked Uncle Mark's Attic is because I used it as like a metaphorical term to be like his brain, in a sense, because he always had so much like knowledge on these things. and as we go on and we do these episodes, you guys will also learn and figure out that Mark does love to read books, and he stores all of this information in his head, and he doesn't forget. He's very informational, and he doesn't have to look back and reference what he's already read and learned. So that's another reason as to why I picked the attic.
That's a good explanation. I am getting older now. I am 65. I want to make full disclosure there. So the memory may not be quite what it was back when I was 35, but I still do try to read 2 or 3 books a week. Now that I'm retired, finally. I retired a few months ago. Prior to that, I couldn't always get 2 or 3 books in, but I have an honest-to-God, open-minded interest in so many subjects. It's really, this brain drives me crazy sometimes. I'm just constantly can't wait to learn new things every single day. So I tend to reach out and read an awful lot of material about an awful lot of subjects. And that's what we thought would be great about this particular podcast. We would be offering everybody almost a buffet, a wide array of different topics and subjects, present some of the basic information about any individual topic, and then talk about our own feelings, our own opinions on those subjects that we've developed over the years, and then hope to get feedback from all of you so we can hear what you think, or if there's any particular topics you want us to look into. So we'll go through the list now. Maybe I'll start first, Zach, because
go ahead.
Some of these things are things I've been doing for years. Some of the first podcast we want to do would be, first off, the recent government report on unidentified aerial phenomena that came out on June 25th of this year, 2021. And also going along with the topic of unidentified aerial phenomena, there's a particular subset that I'm very interested in and have done a lot of reading on over the years, and that would be what's called triangular flying objects or triangular UFOs. And then we don't want to just do UFOs. We are going to go into some other things. So another topic that I have a very keen interest in is an event from our own American history. Happened back in 1933 about an actual conspiracy that existed here in the United States by a number of people, most of them very wealthy people, who were actually sort of flirting with the idea of trying to overthrow the president of the United States at that time, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and establishing some sort of a really what we could only call a fascist dictatorship. And that's a topic I'm particularly interested in. I've been reading about that a lot over the years. Also, something that I find a fascinating area that we're going to get into is the that whole subject of past life memories that some children have displayed. There's been some very good research done on that, especially from Dr. Jim Tucker down at the University of Virginia, and I've read everything that he's written, and that's an interesting subject, and that just leads right into, of course, the general topic of reincarnation, and a lot of people are talking about that these days.
Yeah, I'll go into the next couple topics. This list is fairly long, so we'll probably touch on majority of them. I don't know if we're going to do all of them. We have like 30-some topics on this list. But like Mark said, if you guys suggest topics and we get enough suggested topics, they're going to make their way towards the top of the list. And this list isn't in any particular order. I wouldn't say that it would be in. So our next topics would be near-death experiences, which a lot of people do have personal stories about these near-death experiences, so that'll be an interesting one to go over. A bigger topic, which can probably, if we wanted it to be, could be a fairly long series or 1 to 2 episode, which would be like the 9/11 attack on the United States, which is a very prominent thing that happened here in the United States, which we're actually coming up on the 20th anniversary of that.
Right.
Another thing is the anthrax attacks in the United States, which is something, as of right now, I don't know too much about. And a lot of these things I don't know a lot about, which is why, you know what I mean, we research, and Mark, he really puts in a lot of work to get the information that we need to inform you guys on these topics, if you're not informed, or if you do know, you know what I mean, he tries to pull things to get you to rack your brain and think about it, especially if you do know it, you know what I mean, he tries to find new things that maybe not a lot of people know about the topic. And on to the next topic would be unsolved murders, which there are many, many unsolved murder cases. Not only in the United States, but all over the world. So that could definitely be another series in and of itself. And another thing that goes along with that would be the unsolved disappearances of people, which also is interesting, and it kind of goes into the 411, missing 411 cases. I don't know if that's a separate thing on this list here, but that is something that we're going to definitely delve deep into.
Yeah, there's some very interesting unsolved murders, unfortunately, in this country, and also some very interesting and intriguing unsolved, mysterious disappearances of people. And those would be multiple podcasts in either one of those categories. Another topic that I'm particularly interested in will be the Shroud of Turin. There is actually ongoing research right now taking place in the world about the Shroud. A very large topic, which would probably be multiple podcasts, would be the whole realm of Bigfoot or Sasquatch. And also along with that, there are some categories of cryptid animals, mysterious unknown species. We don't know really exactly what they are, and that would be such things as the Michigan Dogmen. You might have heard of the Beast of Bray Road out in Wisconsin. That was a book, and then there was also a movie made, I think, about it. But the book is actually the more interesting thing, the Beast of Bray Road. A topic that I've done a lot of research in is medical miracles. And there can be some fascinating cases that we can discuss about that I myself have researched. And then also right now, here in the 21st century, this is a big topic. There's been a lot written about this. There's a lot of debates going on, a lot of speculation about artificial intelligence and its role in our future as human beings. in this world. What exactly is going on in the world of artificial intelligence right now, and how far is it going to go? How much of an impact is it going to have on us as the technology continues to improve and expand?
So the next topic would be artificial intelligence. I'm actually.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I was
You
just
want
talking
to?
about that. I was just talking about that one.
Yeah.
Artificial
Oh,
intelligence. Sorry.
okay.
Did you take your meds today? No, I'm just kidding.
All right. So I guess alien abductions. Would
Yes,
be
that would be
next.
but that's a topic. Yes.
I'm gonna probably just go through these next
Mhm.
like 4 or 5 here, and then it'll give them a good idea of what kind of range
Exactly.
we have, and then we can just kind of
Mhm.
wrap it up and go through what the podcast means to us and stuff like that.
Sure.
So the next one would be alien abductions. Sorry, I kind of zoned out when Mark was talking there.
He does that a
Um,
lot. A lot of people do.
So alien abductions, obviously, a lot of people know about alien abductions. Some of you may not. If you're living under a rock, maybe. But alien abductions is a very interesting topic, and I think it's one that I'm very interested to go into because it's something that we don't know a lot about, and it's something that people tend to not believe much in. So
Controversial. Yeah.
yes. The next is praying mantis men. I've actually never heard of this one, not even one time.
Yeah, this ties in. It ties in with the whole alien genre
Okay.
and UFO or unidentified aerial phenomena genre. We'll go over some of the reports of these creatures that look like actually just large. If you've seen a praying mantis, we've seen them around the house here.
Yeah.
Praying mantis out in the yard. These are actually like 8 or 9 foot tall praying mantis creatures. But the resemblance that people that have had these encounters, that's the term they tend to use is praying mantis. That reminds them of a giant praying mantis, man.
Yeah.
So
All right. The next one is Berkshire's UFO incident, Massachusetts, 1969. So Mark obviously would know about this because he was alive in 1969,
Yes,
and
I
I was not. And the next one would be, I don't even know how to pronounce this,
Pascagoula.
Pascagoula, Mississippi, UFO incident, 1973. Again, Mark,
Yeah, that's a
alive,
good one.
and I was not. So, and the last one I'm just going to do the Pentagon Papers, Successful Government Conspiracy,
Mm-hmm.
which, again, is something, a lot of these I don't know very much about, like I've said.
I was alive for that,
Yeah.
too.
So, one thing I do want to say is for these first couple episodes, I'm going to kind of leave in like our outtakes and our, you know what I mean, how I just messed up earlier in the episode when I was like, blah, 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 you know what I mean, my tongue got tied. I want to leave those in, and I kind of want to be able to use those to look back once later, you know what I mean, when we get into the later episodes
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
see how we've improved. And I want the audience,
idea.
obviously, to be able to give us feedback. So that's why I'm going to leave in a lot of my outtakes and a lot of the uhs and the likes and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That people can pick apart and obviously give us feedback on. And that's something, exactly, I just did. And that's something that I realize that I do a lot personally is I say and stuff like that. And I don't know if it's because it helps me talk or think about what I have to say, but it's just something that I'm going to leave into the episodes so people can kind of, you know what I mean, pick apart and give constructive criticism to what we are doing essentially wrong and what we can do to fix that. So I'd say maybe the first 4 or 5 episodes, maybe even a little bit longer, I'm just going to kind of leave them in.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea.
And leave those outtakes. See, I just pick up on it myself now that I brought it to light. I could easily see how many times I say in a episode. So with that being said, I think that this podcast is going to be very interesting, especially for us, you know what I mean, looking through and going over these different topics, and especially the ones that are going to be suggested to us by you guys, ones that we essentially have never heard of before. It's very hard to dupe Mark, and that is something that I've learned over my many years of knowing him. It is very hard to dupe him with information that he doesn't know, which is far to none that he doesn't know anything about. So, I mean, I'll be interested if we get a suggested topic that Mark doesn't know much about.
If I don't, I'll look into it.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he knew about every topic that is brought up here. If you want to kind of go into just how we want the fans to react and what we want them to think about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the reason we even decided to do this and invest the money into the equipment and all of that is because we do find a lot of these topics, things that we've talked about over the years, and some things that we haven't had a chance to talk about together yet, but we find them interesting, and we're hoping that anyone that joins in on the conversation that we're having here will find them interesting and informative and even entertaining. And we would hope that Uncle Mark's Attic would be a stress-free zone. You know, there's so much going on in our world right now, and there's so much division, and there's lots of confusion and all sorts of debates and arguments going on, and news can be pretty upsetting at times. So we were kind of hoping that the attic would be a place to come in and sort of relax, maybe just block out the rest of the world for a while so that you can just relax and join in on this conversation, listen in, and then send feedback, send ideas, send questions. And questions I'm certainly anticipating, because there's always questions about any of these topics that, you know, people are going to come up with just naturally. And that's what we really want. Another thing is that Zach had mentioned that I do like to read books a lot, and I have all my life. Ever since I was a young boy, I was just, you know, a voracious book reader. And I know that not everybody has the time or even necessarily, you know, the interest or the natural ability, you know, to read a lot or to read, you know, book after book after book. So one of the things we would like to say is that we will always be referencing and telling everyone any particular book that we've been using in our research for whatever given podcast topic we're going over. And my goal would be that if you don't have the time, and so many people don't these days, or, you know, you just don't have that natural interest in reading, it's just not a natural skill you have, you'll be able to get the gist of any of these books from what we present in the podcast. Gives you the basic information. Then if you did want to dig down deeper and actually read the book, then you'll know what book we're talking about, and it might be something that you say to yourself like, oh, that sounds pretty interesting, I want to go out and get that, and, you know, look into it myself. That'd be great too. So our goal is to share that information in as interesting and entertaining a fashion as we can, so that you get the basic storyline, and at least you'll have that, and we hope that that will give you plenty of food for thought, things to think about, and make you realize that sometimes in our world there's more going on than we realize, more going on than we necessarily pick up from the news or from conversations with our friends or family. So we're hoping to try to give you things, maybe something that you've not heard before. It would be great for each podcast if we're able to present something to you that here's something you didn't know. Even if you'd heard the general topic or you've heard some other things about it, the general topic, but here's something maybe you didn't know yet. Maybe you haven't heard this before. And that will be great if we're able to share something like that with people. So we do want it to be a pleasant atmosphere and a podcast that you can enjoy relaxing, and it's not going to stress you out. It's going to be politics free. There's plenty of sites out there with politics. We don't need to go into that whole thing. You can go to any of those other sites if you want to get into that. We're picking specific topics that we think would be something that can just help you get away from the, you know, the normal humdrum existence of all of our lives with jobs and school, whatever it is that whatever we're dealing with, even people with medical issues, like, you know, that happens, you know, this is meant to be a place where they can come here. Everybody can just come here and kind of relax, just sit back and enjoy this. And hopefully we'll give you something to think about, and you'll enjoy it. And you'll say, wow, that was really interesting. That was something that we really enjoyed listening to. That's my big goal. Our big goal, really, because we've talked about this over and over and over again before we, you know, got all this equipment and everything.
And that was one of my biggest things, like, going into this podcast and even thinking about even starting one is we converse, you know what I mean, and we talk about these obviously conspiracies, and we take the time, you take the time most of the time to look up and research these things. And my biggest thing was, if we can just converse about it, you know what I mean, it's not like we're sitting in front of a live studio audience, which is what it feels like sometimes, but it's nice to be able to share our thoughts with each other, but we want to share the thoughts with you, which is essentially what I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to bring light to certain topics and essentially give our opinions to you and have you give your opinions to us. We want it to be a conversation, not an argument.
Right.
Which is something that I'm looking forward to. Obviously, I want to be able to converse with you guys as well as I converse with Mark, and we want to be able to answer questions and talk to you guys and do all that fun stuff. But like I said, me and Mark, I've known him all my life, but it's so easy for us to just kind of converse back and forth, and you'll see kind of how our dynamic works throughout the the podcast. I think we have a fairly decent dynamic, if
Yes.
I would say so myself.
Yes.
But I think that is really everything that I wanted to kind of touch on in this introduction
Yeah, it was just meant to be a brief
podcast here.
introduction of ourselves. Zach, as you may have noticed, is significantly younger than me. So if there's one thing we really want to stress for everybody, this should be an intergenerational
Yeah.
experience for everyone. Anyone of any age should be able to join in the conversation here and enjoy it. It's open to everybody, and it should be open to everybody. It should be a nice, objective approach to all of these subjects. And yes, we'll go over the basic facts of any particular topic, basic research that we've done, share whatever opinion we've developed, if any. And usually we do have some sort of opinion on all of these things. We share that. But this is not meant to be, like Zach said, that we're trying to lecture or convert anybody to our way of thinking. We'll just share that just to say, well, this is the conclusion we've come to so far in our lives. This is what we're thinking right now based on everything we've read and researched. But we love to hear other people's opinions too and get that feedback. I never learn anything by listening to myself. I only learn by listening to others, whether you're reading a book or listening to someone speak or, listening to a lecture or whatever in school. But I always learn from others, not from myself. And I'm looking forward to always keep learning all through. As long as I live, I want to keep learning things. So I look forward to hearing from people what their thoughts and their feelings and their opinions are, because that will help me.
Yeah, I agree. And I think what you said was very well said.
Thank you.
I do want people to reach out, and I do want people to feel like they have a place to converse with people, even if it's not us, you know what I mean? Converse with each other and not feel put down or you know what I mean, anything like that.
Very well.
So I think that's, like I said, that's everything I have to say about.
Yes, that pretty much sums up what we wanted to say in this introductory podcast here. And we do look forward to you all joining with us each. We'll probably try to do it once a week, I think. We're trying to do a weekly podcast.
Do an episode a week.
That's enough. We don't want to overwhelm anybody, and we want to make sure we get all of our information together and have everything set up ahead of time so we can, give a decent presentation, give things in a logical and coherent fashion so you can follow along the basic storyline of whatever topic we're going over and then go into our own feelings and thoughts about it at the very end. But we do hope you'll all come back to the attic and have a real good time with us. We can't wait to start our official podcasts soon.
Yes.
Topic by topic, week by week. And we're really looking forward to having a very good time with all of you. Everyone is welcome to Uncle Mark's Attic. And that's intergenerational, all ages, all races, whatever your religious beliefs or no religious beliefs at all, whatever. Everyone is welcome here. Come on into this stress-free zone and try to just take a break from the everyday routine of your lives, and hopefully you'll learn something and you'll enjoy the process. You'll enjoy listening to us and joining in on the conversation. That's about it.
I agree. Real quick, I just want to bring this up.
Sure.
As we're going to bring up probably for the next couple episodes. This here is our Uncle Mark's Attic mascot here. For the people who are listening on Spotify, I'll probably end up posting an Instagram picture or whatever. But here is our mascot. We do not have a name for him yet. So we want you guys to put down name suggestions, and whoever gets the most votes or whatever. Obviously, like I said, we're going to do this for the next couple episodes. So as we build like an audience, the votes will get more and more. So we'll pick from the, top couple, and we'll do a vote. And whoever has the best vote will name him. And maybe we'll just do some sort of, not this exact one, not this exact one, but we'll do a giveaway of a lookalike of our mascot so that somebody can enjoy his presence just as much as we do.
Who wouldn't want to have that in their living room or their bedroom every day and every night? That's a good idea. Thank you.
All right. Well, with that being said, we thank all of you for coming and listening. If this is your first episode, it's a great episode to start on. Obviously, we just went through everything that we plan to go through in our episodes. So this is a good episode to base if you really want to listen or if you don't want to listen off of, which we hope you choose to listen. But if not, that's all right. Thank you for listening. And we appreciate you. Again, you can find us on our social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Uncle Mark's Attic. So feel free to reach out to us, and that's everything.
And we will see you next time in Uncle Mark's Attic. Thank you all, and take care.